Sam Stein of The Bulwark talks about Elon Musk's most recent chaos messaging, telling people that they need to tell him what they did last week or he'll consider it a resignation. Cuckoo birds when you start to think about it. So let's listen together as to what Sam Stein here has to say about it, and then I'll have some opinions as we go, and I want to know what you think in the comments, but let's jump right in.
So basically what's happened tonight is that Elon Musk has taken it up a notch. I didn't think it was possible, but Elon Musk has announced, actually this occurred about 2:45 this afternoon, he announced that he was going to be sending all federal employees an email. And that in that email, he was going to be asking them to list what they have done at work over the last week. Which, okay. But then it contained this line: failure to respond will be taken as a resignation, which is a lot. Like that seems extraordinary. And in fact, already we're seeing legal scholars question whether that's actually allowable. There are certain laws dictating how federal employees can resign or be fired. And it seems like this might be in violation of that. Minor points, you probably would want to think about that before sending the email, but, or before sending the tweet, but whatever. So I was kind of waiting around trying to figure out what was going to happen. And then this evening at 5 o'clock, the emails came out and the subject line was, "What did you do last week?" Like literally, that's the subject line. What did you do last week? It came from the HR at opm.gov. That's the Office of Personnel Management. And the body of the email says, "Hey, please reply to this email with approximately 5 bullets of what you accomplished last week and CC your manager. Please do not send any classified information, links, or attachments. Deadline is Monday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time."
Hey, at least it says, please do not send any classified information, right?
This is nuts. I just want to be clear. It's nuts for a variety of reasons. Let's start with the least offensive reason. It's a Saturday afternoon. I know Elon likes to work on the weekends. Hey, I'm here working on the weekends too. But legitimately, this is not an email to send on a Saturday afternoon. It's just not. And then to give people a Monday deadline is whatever. That's a day and a half, 2 days. But what if they're not working on Monday? What if someone is on vacation? What if they have extenuating circumstances? They don't check their email. That seems problematic if you're going to say, hey, failure to respond will result in your resignation or be considered resignation. I'm sure there's a fair number of the 2 whatever million federal employees who are not going to see the email. It just happens. Not everyone's going to catch it. People have lives that interfere. Okay, so that's one. Two, and the most important one, is you might have seen a small distinction between what Elon's tweet said and what the email said. His tweet said that if you don't respond, they would consider it resignation. The email said nothing to that effect, right? There's nothing in the email that says, hey, if you don't respond, we're going to consider this your resignation. Now, obviously that's a problem because not everyone's on Twitter checking Elon's Twitter feed. Which one is the policy? Well, honestly, which one is the policy here? Because if you didn't see Elon's Twitter feed and you just saw this email, you may say, oh, you know what? This is ridiculous. I'm not going to respond. What are they going to do? And they might consider an act of resignation. Now, I've emailed the White House to get a sense of which one actually is true, the email or the tweet. And as of 6:10 p.m. on Saturday, I have not heard anything back.
You astonish me, sir.
I think at some point they're going to have to specify this for federal employees. This seems problematic, not just it's on a human level, but on a legal level. Probably need to have clear instructions to employees.
Yeah, there's a whole body of law that is employment law. Come on.
I will note that the U.S. Attorney for Washington, D.C., Ed Martin, huge DOGE Elon dude, he sent an email to his staff after Elon's email. It says, folks, Doge and Elon are doing great work. He actually said, we are happy to participate. Idiot. Please respond to the HR email carefully with regard to confidentiality and other duties. Be general if you need to. If anyone gives you problems, I've got your back. You're good. See you Monday, Ed. Again, nothing in that email from Ed Martin, U.S. Attorney for D.C., tells the employees that if they don't respond, it will be considered an act of resignation.
If you don't respond, all your base are belong to us.
That seems like not a minor detail. It seems like an important detail, right? Like, kind of matters. But maybe it doesn't, right? Like, what authority does Elon actually have here? He, according to the governmental and legal filings, is not the head of Doge. Is this a direct order? If so, from who? Shouldn't the direct supervisor have a say in who gets hired or resigns and who gets fired? Like, what are we doing here? And didn't we just go through a week of totally random cuts that Doge pursued that then had to be reversed? Are we really going to call our federal workforce based on who actually read Elon's tweets and realizes that they need to respond, or else they're going to potentially resign? I mean, it just seems insane. Now, I've gotten a lot of feedback already from federal workers, and it's only been an hour. Some of them are just like, fuck this. Like, I'm not going to respond. Some of them are getting instructions not to respond, which I don't know. That seems kind of risky, but I mean, I guess if no one responds, then they're going to fire everybody.
Look, even if everybody in the government responded with 5 bullet points of what they accomplished last week, it's a national security problem to have all of that consolidated in one place. I've heard another expert talk about that. But let's just say, setting that aside for a minute, everybody responds. By the end of the day, who's going to go through those emails? Right? What are you going to do with all those emails? Is Big Balls going to sit down and wade through them? Is Queefer Sutherland 420? Who's in charge of that?
I've gotten people who have said they are like just apoplectic. I've gotten people who say they're incredibly depressed. Notably, I got people who had signed up for Elon's deferred resignation program, the off-ramp that was supposed to give them peace of mind until September, who got this email. So Elon's already given them a resignation, but now he's bugging them to say, what are the 5 things you've done? And threatening them with another resignation, which I'm having trouble figuring out how this works. I had one person who said, I stared at the computer and wondered about the future of my country. This is a lot. And look, I don't know how I would respond in this circumstance, right? Like, I suppose I'd probably just put down 5 totally benign bullet points and say, here, this is what I did, and move on with my life. And if I got fired or forced to resign, I think that would be ridiculous, and I fight that. But this is the issue, is that it's sort of a psychological terror for workers. It's putting them in a very difficult spot where they have to figure out, is this legitimate? Is this not? Like, do I have to respond to Elon?
Yeah, of the many things it's a test. So this person who paperwork has said is not in charge of anything, for an agency that is not official, it's still in dispute. It's never been officially mandated, is sending out messages on X, which is not an official government platform, no matter what Elon Musk and Donald Trump, want you to think. And they're sending out emails from HR that have conflicting messages, and they want to see who obeys, right? So it's like if he tweeted, sit, and he wants to see who sits. That's one level of it. There are many others.
There are other things going on like that I need to respond to, other people, my direct supervisor. This is Saturday, again, 5 p.m. I'm assuming everyone in a federal office is frantically trying to figure out what the hell this is. Probably going to the supervisors. The supervisors are like, Jesus Christ, what the hell is going on here? I need guidance. And look, I will just say this, like, this doesn't make Elon particularly creative or thoughtful or, efficient. This is the old playbook he did at all his companies. There's nothing like revolutionary or insightful about it. He's just terrorizing his workers.
And it's not effective if you really want positive growth, right? So he keeps harping about efficiency, and look, Twitter went from 44 billion to 9 billion, right? So what he did at Twitter, it wasn't like it increased efficiency or, it destroyed the value of the company. And only this is the federal government.
And he gets to pretend like this is some sort of like incredible managerial ingenuity that he like terrorizes his workforce. Like, oh, you made them say what they did in the past week. Brilliant. No, it's stupid. This isn't going to make government more efficient. It's just going to.
It's also bad leadership, right? If you worked at a small business with 10 employees and your boss pulled crap like this, do you think that would be a happy place where you would enjoy working?
Make government less efficient. It's going to make the workplace culture less efficient. It's going to make people hate working there. 100%. And maybe that's what you want, but don't say that's in the name of efficiency.
That's what he wants, right? They are trying to dismantle the government. Why? He's the richest man on the planet. It doesn't matter to him, right? He can hop in his little Mario, rocket and fly off to wherever he wants to fly off to. But for the rest of us, it's very bad news indeed. And the bigger picture is, if you want to get away with crimes, you get rid of the cops, you get rid of the police department, you get rid of the judiciary, you get rid of any of the systems that can hold you in check for the rip and run you want to execute.
It's not. It's dumb. And it's unoriginal. You've done it before at every company. Everyone knew this was coming. It's stupid. Also, it's not particularly well designed. It doesn't take much, honestly, to imagine that the email that they sent out at hr@opm.gov is going to be completely inundated with internet bullshit. People sending the script to the B movie and like a bunch of probably gay porn and stuff like that. I don't know how the DOGE boys are going to like go through 2.3 million emails if they get that many.
Right, exactly.
They'll probably put through some AI generator and figure something out and then pretend like they fired a bunch of people. Maybe actually try to fire a bunch of people, and then that will get into lawsuits, and then we'll have to go through this whole rigmarole all over again.
Yep. It is exactly that. It's quagmire. Let's create chaos. Let's create quagmire. If we're lucky, a certain percentage of the people will just walk away. They're harder to put back than they are to scare off, right? It's just taking a shotgun to everything, right? Let's just Swiss cheese everything as much as we possibly can. Create confusion and chaos.
And all the while, real world shit's happening in a government that's supposed to help people through real world shit.
Yep.
Won't do it. I will say the irony is noted by more than one person to me, more than one federal worker to me, is that Elon is asking people to respond to these emails at the same time that Elon cannot return emails from 2 women with whom he's had children. They've had to go on Twitter to beg him to return emails. Can't be bothered for that, but is demanding workers give him 5 bullet points at work, potentially risk resignation.
I mean, it's more of the same and it's escalating. So I expect to see even more of these shenanigans. The courts are slow and ponderous, and they are gumming up the works. That's the strategy. That's what Orban did, right? That's what Viktor Orban did. And this is a playbook. It's not like, what are they doing? It's a very careful plan, and the architects of Project 2025 were involved in putting it all together. And if we're not extremely careful and nimble about this right now, we can't allow them to do it, right? We cannot just say, okay, I guess it's new world order now. We have to resist. We have to make sure that we are talking about it, and we have to make sure that we are putting pressure on our legislature not to just roll over and cave into this. The Republicans are voting in a block, and these people have been confirmed across the board by the razor-thin margin. They've got them in line, right? If it gets to a certain point, it won't matter. It still matters. So we need to put the pressure on them. Let me know what you think in the comments.